The cargo bay of Spaceport Meridian hummed with the usual chaos of departure day. Freighters groaned as they lifted off, their engines scorching the tarmac below. James Keller stood at the edge of Platform 7, watching the last transport ship disappear into the violet sky of Kepler 442b. His cybernetic leg ached. It always did when the atmospheric pressure shifted. He was about to head back to his quarters when he heard it, a soft, desperate sound that cut through the mechanical roar, a whimper. James turned, his military instincts still sharp despite 5 years of retirement. Between two cargo containers, partially hidden by shadow, sat a small figure. As he approached, his breath caught. She couldn't have been more than 7 standard years old. Her skin shimmered with an iridescent quality that marked her as Lyrian, one of the few alien species that had joined the Galactic Coalition. But something was wrong. Her legs were bent at unnatural angles, clearly malformed, and one of her arms ended just below the elbow. The bioluminescent patterns that should have glowed across her skin were dim, flickering like dying stars. "Hey there," James said softly, kneeling despite the protest from his artificial knee joint. "What's your name?" The girl's large, opal-like eyes fixed on him with a mixture of fear and hope. "Aliana," she whispered in accented standard. Her voice was barely audible. James scanned the area. No parents, no guardians, just abandoned cargo and the girl. His jaw tightened. He'd seen this before, disabled alien children left at spaceports, deemed too expensive or burdensome to care for on colony worlds with limited resources. "Where's your family, Aliana?" Her eyes welled with tears that refracted light like tiny prisms. They said I was broken, that the colony couldn't afford to fix me. They left on the last ship." Something inside James's chest cracked. He thought of his own daughter, lost in the war of the frontier along with his wife. He thought of the moments he'd failed to protect them. But this he could do something about. "You're not broken," he said firmly. "You hear me? You're not broken." Aliana's lower lip trembled. "But I can't walk, I can't work. They said I was useless." James looked down at his own cybernetic leg, then at his right arm, completely synthetic from the shoulder down, courtesy of a plasma grenade on Titan Station. "See this?" He tapped his leg, producing a metallic ring. "Lost the original in combat, and this arm, gone 12 years ago. Does that make me useless?" She shook her head slowly. "Damn right it doesn't." He stood and extended his artificial hand to her. "Come on. We're getting you out of here." But Aliana didn't move. "Where will I go? No one wants someone like me." James felt something he hadn't felt in years, purpose. "I do." The words surprised even him, but once spoken, they felt right. The loneliness of his quarters, the empty years stretching ahead, the pension money gathering dust in his account, all of it suddenly seemed wasteful. Here was someone who needed him. He scooped Aliana into his arms, careful not to hurt her fragile limbs. She weighed almost nothing, her Lyrian physiology naturally lighter than human. As he carried her through the spaceport, people stared. A grizzled human veteran carrying a disabled alien child wasn't something you saw every day. "Sir, is there a problem?" A security officer stepped forward, hand hovering near his stunner. "No problem," James replied evenly. "Just taking my daughter home." The officer's eyes narrowed. "Your daughter, she's Lyrian." And James's voice carried the edge of command he'd honed over 20 years of military service. "You got a regulation against cross-species adoption, officer." The man hesitated, then stepped aside. "Just make sure you file the proper paperwork." "Already planning on it." Back in his quarters, James set Aliana down on the couch. His living space was spartanly furnished, a place for sleeping, not living. That would have to change. "Are you hungry?" he asked. She nodded. He rummaged through his rations and found some fruit paste that should be compatible with Lyrian biology. As she ate, he activated his comm unit. "Medical services. Yeah, I need information on prosthetics for a Lyrian child, bilateral leg enhancement and a partial arm replacement. He paused, listening. I don't care about the cost, just tell me what she needs. Aliana watched him with wide eyes. You're really going to help me? James sat beside her, his expression softening. Kid, I spent 2 decades fighting for the Coalition. You know what we were supposed to be fighting for? A galaxy where everyone had a chance, where no one was left behind. He gestured around his empty quarters. I've been sitting here for 5 years collecting dust like an old weapon in storage, but maybe I'm not done fighting yet. But You're just a person who deserves a life, James interrupted. That's all anyone is. That's all anyone needs to be. Over the following weeks, James threw himself into his new mission with the same intensity he'd once reserved for military operations. He researched Lyrian culture, learned about their dietary needs, studied their language. He contacted the best prosthetics specialists in the sector and arranged for Aliana's procedures. The surgeries took months. During the recovery periods, James read to her from his old books, adventure stories from Earth, tales of exploration and discovery. He taught her chess and found she had a brilliant tactical mind. Her bioluminescent patterns grew brighter as her health improved. When Aliana finally stood on her new legs, beautiful pieces of engineering that mimicked Lyrian physiology while enhancing her mobility, she cried. So did James. I can walk, she whispered, taking hesitant steps. You can run, James corrected with a smile. The doctor said those things are top of the line. She looked at him, her opal eyes shining. Why did you do this? You didn't even know me. James thought about that question. He thought about the war, about loss, about the galaxy they'd all fought to build. Because someone once told me that we're not measured by our abilities but by our choices. Your family chose to give up on you. I chose not to. Simple as that. Aliana crossed the room in 3 quick strides and wrapped her arms around him. Thank you, Dad. The word hit James harder than any weapon ever had. Dad. He hugged her back, feeling the empty places in his heart begin to fill. Thank you, he whispered back, for giving an old soldier something worth fighting for again. Outside the window, ships continued their endless dance across the stars. But inside James Keller's quarters, now a home, 2 people who had both been left behind had found each other. In a galaxy of trillions, sometimes all it took was one person refusing to walk away. Sometimes all it took was choosing to care.